So welcome back everybody, this is Paul again, another of my videos, and I've been making a series about consciousness, and today I thought I'd just talk about a couple of really helpful techniques that I can explain that were really going to be very, very helpful in expanding and helping us become more aware. And first I want to say that those techniques that I'm going to talk about are very well known. I didn't invent them, and it's just my presenting a way of explaining techniques that are in the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali and the Upanishads from India. But before I want to talk about that, I want to talk about an example of how our perception happens in our life. And I want to give you an example. Let's supposing you're on a train and you're looking out the window and you see all this stuff going by, and the stuff that's near you is going back super fast. You can hardly even make out what it is. It's gone. And then in the distance you see different scenery, and every so often it completely changes. Now at the same time that's going on is you're also, another field of vision is inside the train, and whatever's in that train, you might be riding in luxury and everything is just very comfortable, quiet, music maybe. On the other hand, maybe it's a packed train and crazy inside, it's a crazy train. So, if it's a crazy train, you might want to get off at the next station. But the thing is that we have those types of points of view, and inside the train we're looking forward, and we don't really know where we're going. We don't often know exactly where we're going. We look out the window, we see all the scenery going by, and you can't really get to the scenery. All the stuff you hear on the news and life, and you know, before you know it, it's gone, 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 and you don't even know where you're going. You don't have a three-dimensional perspective. Now, that can create a lot of different problems because we have this external view, we have the internal view, we have trying to perceive what is going on. Now, in the midst of all that, according to basically the facts, but basically experience of yogis and all kinds of people for thousands of years, is that there's another type of awareness that's within us all. It's not a type of awareness, it is the awareness, and that awareness is like, imagine time-lapse photography when every split second is getting more information, more information, more information. Our body, our being, is a sensory mechanism, not just confined to even just take one sense. The eye, say, within just that one sense, there's an enormous range of what we can perceive. Sideways, round, motion, detection, colors. Same way with sound. We have all kinds of subtle sounds that we could be paying attention to. Now, that part of us is really us. I call that the superconscious real nature of human beings. And that other part, the unconscious part, that's kind of like either looking out or confused by what's going on outside, or confused by what's going on inside, or relaxed inside, or whatever the state it's in, it's neither taking in all the different information, it's just a fragmented version. But we identify with that. Every time, say, the train may lurch, you know, the engineer knows that, look, you know, he sees the bump coming, it's going to lurch, no big deal, been over that hump 1,000 times. But you're sitting in the passenger car and all of a sudden go, whoo, what was that all about? And then you get freaked out. So life has this dimension, but there's a continuous stream of perception that is gathering all kinds of subtle information, and that is literally us. That is us in the truest sense of the word. But we can't, there's a disconnect between what we can consciously process, because let's say there's a lot of distractions. Now, people who, say, ride a train for a long time and they don't They know exactly where they're going, they know what the scenery's all about, they know who's on the train and so on. From the point of view of the conductor or whoever, the engineer, it's not a mystery. So we have to get a sufficient information in our life processed so that we are clear and not confused and not freaked out and not panicked. Okay, so now a couple techniques, simple. Sound, we basically are trying to get to subtler and subtler realms of perception. Subtler realms in the sense of quieter sounds, subtler colors, subtler things, subtler tastes, subtler touch. The same way we want to get a change in our temporal, our time sensitive, our time awareness, so that if you go through your day and you experience, if you pause every once in a while, you just remember that light touch, whatever it was, the wind or the sound or something that you can remember. You say, I'm going to note that, and later tonight when I'm relaxing or have a little quiet time, I'm going to sit and I'm going to just try to feel, what was that just gentle touch that I felt? What was that just subtle sound that I experienced? And take some time to just let yourself remember there's the subliminally recording mechanism of our whole awareness that goes through our day, remembers all that. So then we tap in through a memory, say, okay, I'm going to remember a moment. Again, tapping into, like, I'm going to remember a subtle sound in a subtle part of time, a part of a second, a part of a second. What is in that subtler realm is more than you can possibly imagine. And we know that instinctively because, like I said, there's that part of us that's constantly perceiving 24/7. And if we don't process that information by sitting quietly, remembering the subtleties, then there's going to be a disconnect between how the intuitive, all-seeing part of us relates to the shadow part, which I call the shadow. The actual shadow is literally, it's a less conscious version of our continuous awareness, if you understand. So again, the two techniques would have to do with remembering subtle things that happen during the day, because we're all busy, we got to do things. But take a moment here and there, maybe eating lunch or spending time with friends, and you remember, I heard a beautiful voice when I was at that cafe, and I remember the smell of the coffee, or just subtle things, so that we can just open that door. Because if you open the door to more consciousness, it's kind of like there's almost a wind of consciousness that just begs and is so longing to wake up the rest of us. So that you open the door a little bit in our awareness to a little bit of understanding, and the door can just be flown right off. I mean, it's not a mystery. You know, it's like you're driving down the road in the car, and the difference between, okay, now all of a sudden you push a button and the top's open, and now all of a sudden you're experiencing everything. You're in the car and you're feeling the outside of the car. So essentially what we're trying to do with our awareness is build a bridge between the subconscious subliminal awareness that is perceiving continuously. It even perceives pressure, the heat in our body, the flow of our breath, the subliminal things. There's things that are, there's software, you might say, there's DNA, there's cells, there's living awarenesses, electricity within our makeup, which is literally part of us. We inhabit that. This electrical awareness that we have extends all the way out through the skin and beyond. So, again, techniques are really simple. There's nothing I've said here that is a mystery, because it just means, okay, stop. Just stop the train, so to speak. If the inside of our train, so to speak, our awareness is like full of clutter and just all kinds of noise, we just do something about it. You know, make life a little more simple. If the outside is cluttered and crazy, then you can do something about that too. But to bring life into balance with some kind of slower and slower perception, because if you think life is really beautiful, let's say you hear beautiful music, then every subtle part of it is beautiful, including the silence. And it reminds me of a little proverb that I heard, that the guy goes to a teacher and says, okay, I really want to just, teach me some technique to make, help me awaken. He says, okay, go sit over there. See those beautiful smooth rocks over there? Just sit there and listen to the rocks. I said, wow, the rocks don't make any noise. He said, that's exactly right. Just listen. Just listen to the silence. And then he would listen to the silence, and after a while he realized, well, my goodness, he would hear the subtle breeze passing over the rocks, or every once in a while a rock would just shift slightly. And the sun would bake the rocks, and they'd start to heat up, and they just emanate this radiance, because he started to feel the subtleties. And all that subtlety, no matter where we are, if we're on a subway, and it's crazy, there's still, in between the sounds, there's a silence. And like I said, if it really is a crazy train, then get off at the next stop. So, there's a way of changing our environment to help us get into situations where we can practice and be around people who are interested in this stuff. Because as far as I'm concerned, there's no better thing to do with our attention is to try to develop some techniques to say, well, I've got a short life perhaps, I'm going to try to experience as much as I possibly can, and the only way is to slow down and say, wait a minute, every single possible second, it's not just something streaming by, I'm a participant in it. I can be more and more conscious of every passing piece of stillness. So, again, thanks for watching, and I really do listen to a lot of other people, and I get my inspiration from many sources. And I'm out here putting my 2 cents out here to see if anybody listens, and apparently some people do, but thank you very much again, and I'll see you in the next video.